Okay, I mean 9-1. So you'll have to, I'll put 9-2 up by the end of the day. And we're going to check homework afterwards. All right, so today we're looking at solving equations with involving absolute value. So the first thing I want to know is, what are the solutions to this first problem over here on the left? Can you stop playing with that? Thanks. Okay, what are the solutions to the absolute value of x equals 5? Brent?
5 and -5.
5 and -5 are both solutions. Because the absolute value of -5 equals 5 and the absolute value of 5 equals 5. Okay, what about to the other problem? You hand down. You hand down. Josh.
Isn't there no solution? Because
Why?
the absolute value is the distance from 0, and there's no negative distance.
Okay, agree?
Yes.
Okay, so when we have this, it doesn't matter how complicated. So what Josh said was that, there we go. What Josh said was that because this is equal to a negative amount, this is a no solution because there is no absolute value that equals a negative amount. Absolute value is distance from 0. And it doesn't matter if this is my number line and here's 0, even if I move to -1, it's still one block to the left or one jump to the left. It's a positive value. So there are no absolute values that equal a negative quantity because distance cannot be negative. Now, on your chapter test, I am going to throw a big trick in there. Now, I'm going to watch you guys spin out of control on it. Okay, but I'm going to tell you what the trick is. So let's see. No, hand down. How many of you can catch it? Okay. And just know this, that no matter how complicated this absolute value is, if it's equal to a negative number, what's the answer?
No.
So don't spin yourselves out of control going, I forgot how to solve this, because I might not have even taught you how to solve something like that. Okay? I wouldn't be that cruel. I'm not going to. But I'm going to tell you, we will pose certain problems, and it's going to be up to you to write no solution or solve it for a solution. All right, so when we're given absolute value equations, we've determined already that when we have absolute value, inside that absolute value, that blue chunk there can be equal to a positive value or a negative value. So we have to account for both the negative value answer or solution and the positive value solution. So what we do is we take the absolute value and we branch it into two equations. One set equal to the positive and one set equal to the negative value. And then we solve them. So, what would I need to do to get n by itself? Belin?
You would need to subtract 1 from both sides.
Subtracting 1. I'm left with n is equal to 4. Keep going. What do I do for the next one? Or, Burke?
You subtract 1 on both sides.
And what do we get?
You get n equals -6.
N is equal to -6. Okay? So, how we account for our absolute value is we account for a negative value solution and a positive value solution by splitting the equation into two parts. And my solution, now notice this, my solution goes into braces. Okay? It does not go into parentheses because a parenthesis insinuates what? Grant? An ordered pair, a point on the coordinate plane. Okay, so a parenthesis signifies that that is a point on the coordinate plane, -6, up 4, somewhere like that. This is not an ordered pair. These are solutions to that number set. Okay? Now, what would I need to do? What do you think we would need to do? Let's go with Evan.
First you put in branches
Put branches.
and do that blue thing.
We don't need to do the blue part.
And then so it would be x minus 3 equals 15 and x minus 3 equals negative.
So we branch it off and we set them equal to the positive and negative values. And you guys finish it off. Okay? Finish it off. What am I doing here, Catherine?
Add 3 to both sides.
Add 3 to both sides. And we end up with,
X equals 18.
and what do I do, Luda?
Add 3 to both
Add
sides.
3 to both sides.
X equals negative.
X equals -12. Now, you can always check your answers. Substitute both answers in for X. Is -12 minus -3, what does that equal? Yes.
Negative 15, but then when you do the absolute value, it's 15.
When you do the absolute value, it's equal to 15. And 18 minus 3, what does that equal? 15. Is the absolute value of 15 equal to 15? Okay. Now, we're going to make it a little bit more complicated. A little bit more complicated. Now, solving inequalities is just like solving an equation. Think of your solving absolute value is just like solving an equation. Think of your absolute value like it's a variable. So what do I need to do to this to begin to solve this, Carlos?
Subtract 7 over 10.
Right, what's my goal here? Yes.
To get the absolute value.
Get the absolute value alone. So we're going to substitute. We're going to isolate our absolute value. First, we're going to get rid of that 7. Subtract 7. And we are left with the absolute value of 2x minus 3 is equal to 25. Okay. Why don't you now finish it up from here? What would be the next step in this process? Rebecca?
You would add 3.
Before I do that, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to ask you the same question on the next problem. Let's go with Gaul.
You branch it into
2
2 equations.
equations. Okay, and set one equal to the positive and one equal to the negative. So it should be 2x minus 3 equals 25. And 2x minus 3 equals negative 25. Or I should say or. And then we're going to solve it. Add 3 to both sides. Divide 2 on both sides. X is equal to 14. Do the same thing over here. And you should have gotten x is equal to negative 11. And we generally put them in our set in numerical order from least to greatest. Okay, questions at this point? Okay. Moving on. Okay. What do you think we would do first in this situation? Let's go with Alex.
Divide everything by 3.
Right, because that means 3 times the absolute value. You are going to be dividing everything by 3. Okay? Because we're doing the inverse operation to get the absolute value alone. And then we're left with x minus 4 is equal to 6. You guys finish it up. What would we do next? Someone I haven't heard from, please. Urani.
You have to branch it out into two equations with negative or positive.
Okay, and so what's it going to look like?
X minus 4 equals 6 and x minus 4 equals negative 6.
Okay, and the solutions we got, Journey?
You're going to add the first equation positive. You're going to add 4 to the side.
Okay,
It'll be x equals 10. And then the second equation will be, you're going to add 4 again and do negative 1. And it'll be x equals negative 2.
okay. And so my solution is negative 2 and 10. My solutions are. Questions? Okay. Little bit trickier. A little bit of everything. Who thinks they can do this without any explanation? Okay, why don't you give it a try, and then we'll go over it. Off with where I might begin here.
I think I did it wrong. I put plus 7 plus 7.
That's perfect. That's exactly correct. We undo our adding and subtracting before our multiplying and dividing. So first we're going to add 7 to both sides of the equation, of the equal sign. And so what would I be left with? Kelly.
2 and then
What is, when it's next to, what operation does that mean? So 2
to the
times
x plus
the absolute value
value of x plus 1 equals 22.
equals 22. Next step, what would I do, Byron? Divide 2 on both sides of the equal sign. Okay? And then I'm left with, what, Byron? Perfect. Okay, and last but not least, what am I doing? Last step in the process, Catherine Gullivan. Not yet. You're skipping a step. Can somebody give her a hint without telling her? Who can give a hint? What does that mean? Branch it out. And? Okay. Or, actually, it should have an or there in the middle. And then we set it equal, and then we simplify, and we should be getting, Nick?
X equals negative 10 for the first equation. I mean, x equals 10 for the first equation.
And?
X equals negative 12 for the second one.
Good. And we put that in braces from least to greatest. So that is the lesson